One of the things will help you is using a long tee. Now, it's not the longest tee ever made, one of those trick tees, but it's just, you know, if I don't know how many inches, that might be a 3-inch tee. You know how it is. We're going to get to where that driver is teed up. Okay, and if you could see right there, I could just about fit that club under the ball there. And if I really popped it up, now you might say, well, gee, I might go right under that thing. Part of your ability to hit a good drive is so-called aiming your hands. Now, aiming your hands, you've all seen good players doing this stuff, and being able to hit the thing you're looking at basically is what that is, not striking out. So it's really good if you can get that ground out of the equation, you'll be able to hit the ball a lot cleaner. I recommend practicing with a longer tee. You'll be able to, if you watch some of those guys in the long drive contests, they've got ridiculously long tees, like the length of a pencil, and the driver is, and also what it does, it encourages a little flatter swing plane, a little more in junction with your turn, which is on a flatter plane. And again, that's really good for a driver. Let's watch a few again. So again, it's really, I've got to really encourage you to get this sort of look to your arms and hands. You want to get rid of any tension whatsoever. This is a very much of a pivot-driven and momentum-driven swing. I can't tell you how light I'm holding this thing. Slow up. Another little detail about the driver is the tempo with which you swing. Now, most players spend a lot of energy going back and tension. I just see it all day long out there, like it's just tense and quick and tight. There's never really a chance to load the shaft. So part of the trick of being a good golfer is confusing the shaft, making it work like a trampoline sort of. If I go back slowly, I can transition more slowly, then it starts flexing on the downswing. If you've got slow motion on your DVD player, put this in slow motion, you'll see how this shaft works. Watch how inert and quiet it is going back. And by the time I'm changing directions, you should be able to see quite a bit of stress up here. And that's almost the trick. Now, don't tell your golfing buddies at home. They'll learn it too. You got to beat them somehow. So here we go. Watch that tempo, slow and smooth. And right when I change directions, that shaft stresses like crazy. I drag it down, and it really will give a good launch there. Now, most of us are right-handers that are playing right-handed golf. So here's my right hand behind me. One of the biggest mistakes you can do with a driver is getting the old chicken wing look. So breaking down this way. So that's something I work with in my daily life with my golf lessons, and we're trying to help encourage people to have a much more extension. First off, if you've got a good pivot, if you can keep your pivot ahead, that'll encourage you to keep that stretch there, and that's something you'll definitely want to improve in your golf swing. There's a good chance you look a little like this, but it only looks like that if your pivot stops. So there are a couple drills to do when you're hitting your driver, and this will be the first one to get your, you just start with really short shots, and I'm going to just keep my arms like, I don't want to call them locked, but they're extended. That's sort of about a 100-yard shot, and that's a good way you can get the feel of making your body keep the arms extended. And I've obviously used some of my tricep muscles to do that as well. But that's a good drill. Now, considering I'm, like everyone, pretty okay with my right hand and not so good with my left hand, I brush my teeth with my right, I comb my hair with my right, all these things we do with our right hand. There's a good chance you're just like I am. So you might want to get to where you can hit a decent shot with just that left hand. Well, decent, another 100-yard shot. Just the ability. Again, here's my left hand. Let's see if I can do this. Whoa, let's try that again. Oh, a little practice is all it takes. You know, it's getting to where your left side is able to stand up to your right side. The third drill you may want to try, just running through these quickly, is actually letting go like that. And I would start off very softly, keeping that left arm really long. Again, if you slow that down on your player, you're going to see a tremendous extension of my left arm. If you practice that a few times, you'll really get the feel of what it feels like to extend through the ball with a lot of extension. With your arms out, with a lot of width in your swing through the ball. Now, speaking of width, you might think that you want to get the widest swing possible, but actually it goes wide, narrow, wide. So again, I set up with my right shoulder low, and that kind of helps me go wide. Change directions. We've been talking about the stressing of the shaft. Look how narrow that is compared to going back. There's my backswing, there's my downswing. That's somewhat narrow. Not narrow this way, but it actually goes narrow inward, and as far as where the wrists angles are, my lag. So when I come in, those wrists are going to be very close to me, and I get to use like that ice skater thing we've talked about in the past, conservation of angular momentum. So wide, narrow. Then when this angle expands, wide, 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 try to extend, and then let it go fall right in. A less good look is when you let your left arm chicken wing. That means your right side took over and you didn't use your pivot. See if I can achieve that. Pretty good.